Philip.
The World Cup by Full Star Productions, the biggest sporting event in the world, which has nearly 4 times the amount of viewers than the Super Bowl. The World Cup has caused happiness and heartbreak. There have been countless amazing games, players, and goals. But today, we will dive into the deeper question: what is the World Cup? Creation and history of the World Cup. The World Cup was started by a French man named Jules Rimet. He had a vision to make a competition for countries all over the world to compete and play in. Once he was elected president of FIFA, the biggest soccer organization in the world, Jules put his plan into action by proposing his plans to his colleagues at FIFA for a competition of massive stature. His plan was to have national teams from all over the world to compete in his competition every 4 years. There would be several awards given to the top goal scorer, the best player, and the best goalkeeper for every tournament. His colleagues agreed, and they gave the competition a name: the World Cup.
The first World Cup was played in 1930 in Montevideo, Uruguay, where Uruguay came out victorious against their arch-rival Argentina. Uruguay won 4-2 with Hector Castro scoring the game sealer. For the next two World Cups in Italy 1934 and France 1938, Italy came out victorious in both events, first over Czechoslovakia and then Hungary. In the 1940s, for the clear reasons of the World War, the World Cup was not held. Throughout the next decades, the game changed and improved.
The 50s. During the 50s, 3 World Cups were held. They were hosted in Brazil, Switzerland, and Sweden. Some of the best players throughout the 50s were Ferenc Puskás, Alfredo Di Stefano, and Nilton Santos. The Golden Boot winners for the World Cup were Ademir for Brazil in 1950, Senor Kosaisis for Hungary in 1954, and Just Fatin for France in 1958. But also in the World Cup of 1958, a young superstar showed himself to the world, scoring 6 goals in his debut World Cup: Pelé. His dominance continued throughout the 60s, and many regard Pelé as the greatest player of all time. He helped his team win 2 of the next World Cups.
The 60s. In the 1960s, there were 2 World Cups. The tournaments were hosted in Chile 1962 and England 1966. In 1962, Brazil won the tournament against Czechoslovakia in the final. There was a 5-way tie for the Golden Boot. Some notable names were Garrincha and Vava, who both played for Brazil. In 1966, Germany FR was beaten by England in the final to win their first ever World Cup in England, with Eusebio for Portugal winning the Golden Boot. Franz Beckenbauer, a young German defender, won the Best Young Player of the tournament. He then went on to win a World Cup as a player and a manager, making him one of the few people to do so. The 70s. During the 70s, there were 3 World Cups that happened. In the 70s, Brazil went on to win 3 World Cups in the span of 4 World Cups. In 1970, Gerd Müller won the Golden Boot while playing for Germany FR, who got 3rd place. Brazil beat Italy 4-1 in the final in Mexico. In 1974, Goretzka Lato for Poland won the Golden Boot. This World Cup was held in Germany and was won by the host Germany. They won the final against the Netherlands, winning 2-1. In 1978, Argentina won against the Netherlands 3-1. This World Cup was hosted in Argentina, making it the 2nd tournament in a row to have won by the host nation. The Golden Boot for this tournament was won by Mario Kempes, a player for Argentina. During the 70s, most considered Johan Cruyff to be the best player of the decade. He led his team, the Netherlands, to a World Cup final. He scored 3 goals and assisted 3 goals in the 1974 World Cup.
The 80s. The 80s included many great moments in the two World Cups that took place in 1982 and 1986. The 1982 World Cup took place in Spain. The final was won by Italy, 3-1 over Germany FR. This was the first of 3 times in a row that Germany FR would make it to the World Cup final. The Golden Boot was given to Paolo Rossi of Italy. The 1986 World Cup happened in Mexico. The World Cup was won by Argentina over Germany FR, 3-2, with George Berthaga scoring the winning goal. The Golden Boot was won by Diego Maradona, who was the best player in the 80s and into the 90s. The 90s. During this decade, there were 3 World Cups, which were held in 1990, 1994, and 1998. The 1990 World Cup was hosted in Italy. The final was a rematch of Argentina and Germany, who had played each other in the 1986 World Cup final. But after 3 consecutive World Cup finals for the country, Germany came triumphant and beat Argentina 1-0, with a winning goal scored by Andreas Brun. The Golden Boot was awarded to Salvatore Sali from Italy. In 1994, the World Cup was hosted in America. The final was between Italy and Brazil. Brazil was victorious, winning on penalties 3-2. Golden Boot was awarded to Miroslav Stoichkov for Bulgaria and Oleg Slanko for Russia. The World Cup in 1998 was hosted in France. The host, France, won the final against Brazil 3-0. This gave France their first ever World Cup. Davor Sukar for Croatia was awarded the Golden Boot. Zinedine Zidane for France was the key player for France's success and dominated soccer for the next decade.
The 2000s. In the 2000s, there were 2 World Cups in this decade, 2002 and 2006. The 2002 World Cup was hosted in Korea and Japan. Brazil won over Germany 2-0. Oliver Kahn of Germany won the Golden Ball while Ronaldo, R9, of Brazil won the Golden Boot. In 2006, the World Cup was hosted in Germany. Italy won over France 5-3 on penalties. Zinedine Zidane won the Golden Ball and Miroslav Klose won the Golden Boot. In the final, there was a very controversial play by Zinedine Zidane headbutting Marco Materazzi. It resulted in Zinedine Zidane getting sent off and France losing the game because of it.
The 2010s. There were 3 World Cups held in the 2010s. They were in 2010, 2014, and 2018, the most recent World Cup. The 2010 World Cup was held in South Africa, the first World Cup to be held in Africa. The final was between Spain and the Netherlands, with Spain winning 1-0. Thomas Muller for Germany won both the Young Player of the Tournament and the Golden Boot. In 2014, the World Cup was held in Brazil for the second time in World Cup history. Germany and Argentina faced off in the final. Germany won 1-0 with a winning goal from German Mario Götze. The Golden Boot was awarded to James Rodriguez from Colombia. The most recent World Cup, the 2018 World Cup, was held in Russia. The final was between France and Croatia, with France winning 4-2, giving France their second World Cup title. Harry Kane for England was awarded the Golden Boot. During this decade, there was and still is a great debate over who is better, Lionel Messi for Argentina or Cristiano Ronaldo for Portugal. Both players have scored an incredible amount of goals and have led their teams to greatness many times. This rivalry was a main topic for fans in the 2000s, and these players will always be remembered for their greatness.
When the World Cup was first played, there had been no sporting event like it. The World Cup brought people of all backgrounds and cultures to come together and watch their team play. Over the years, people have shown more and more support and have helped make the World Cup immensely popular. Players and moments have come and gone, but there are some that have stood the test of time: Maradona, Zinedine Zidane, Beckenbauer, Ronaldo R9, Lionel Messi, Johan Cruyff, Cristiano Ronaldo all have changed the game forever.
You have now learned about the biggest sporting event on the planet. In sports history, nothing is compared to the bonding and competitiveness of the World Cup, which has helped change the sports world as we know it. Hundreds of million people watch it and are connected by their love of this great game.